Cracking Web. Nathan Bolton, myself Hayden Simmons, Rex Nesbitt, and Michael Hales. Meet Don. Don's livelihood relies on the secure transmission of very important packets, but Don recently discovered that WEP is no longer secure. Now, meet Don's nemesis. AirCrackNG is a complete suite of tools that can be used to assess wireless network security. It focuses on the following areas: monitoring, packet capture and export of data to text files for further processing by third-party tools; attacking, replay attacks, deauthentication, fake access points, and others via packet injection; testing, checking Wi-Fi cards and driver capabilities, as in capture and injection; cracking, WEP and WPA PSK, as in WPA 1 and 2. The tools are all command line based, which allows for heavy scripting. They run best in a Linux environment, but are compatible with Windows, Mac OS, FreeBSD, OpenBSD, NetBSD, Solaris, and even Ecom-Station 2. AirCrackNG even has an Android port. Isn't that terrifying? The weakness in WEP boils down to the two main things. First, it is not mandatory to change the encryption key, nor is there an automatic method of changing the key. Second, a random cipher is created for each packet by combining the encryption key with an IV number drawn from one of roughly 16 million numbers. Because thousands or even tens of thousands of packets are sent each minute, the IV is repeated on average every 5 hours or less. Once an IV is repeated, statistical analyses can be used on the repeated cipher to discover patterns and guess the key. The key to cracking WEP is gathering a lot of initialization vectors, or IVs, or data packets. One way to speed up a WEP crack is to use ARP protocol replay attacks. ARP is Address Resolution Protocol, a TCP IP protocol used to convert an IP address into a physical address. The classic ARP request replay attack is the most effective way to generate new initialization vectors, or IVs, and it works very reliably. The program listens for an ARP packet, then retransmits it back to the access point. This in turn causes the access point to repeat the ARP packet, but with a new IV. The program retransmits the same ARP packet over and over. However, each ARP packet repeated by the access point has a new IV. All of these new IVs allow you to determine the WEP key. As Don learned, the only defense against the breaking of WEP encryption is, you guessed it, don't use WEP encryption. To set up a WEP key attack demonstration, a Cisco 1100 access point that uses the 802.11g protocol was set up with a single SSID using 40-bit WEP encryption. Now we present to you our demonstration. But first, what did the egg say to the clown? You crack me up. Step 1. Find your WEP encrypted SSID. Find your victim.
First, we need to find our victim's SSID, which is essentially the Wi-Fi's identifier and the transmission channel. On this Mac, we use the airport program to discover available Wi-Fi networks. You can see that one network is using WEP. Here is the BSSID and channel which we'll need for the next step. Let's crack it.
Step 2. Capture packets from your victim's SSID for analysis. Monitor your victim.
Alright, so next we're going to need to monitor and save the packets coming from the access point to a file. Our cracking software will use this data to look for collisions or repeated use of the same IVs. There are only about 16 million possible IVs, so repeats will eventually happen. There are ways to speed this process up, but we are not using them. So when I hit the command here, the Wi-Fi will begin capturing.
Step 3. Attack your victim by using statistical analyses to discover the WEP key.
Once we get enough packets, we'll run aircrackng to do statistical analysis of the captured packets. Basically, aircrackng is going to make educated guesses as to what the secret key is. As it makes guesses, it checks its guesses. Once it finds the correct WEP key, the program ends. And if it can't find the key, it will end and ask you to gather more data.
So this is the way it works. I run the command and aircrack begins making its guesses. If the attack failed, because it couldn't find the proper guess, it says you must capture more IVs. We'll continue to run it until we have enough packets for it to guess the correct key. And there's the key. You can see right here the key was found. The key was CAFEBABE01. And to test that key, we'll try to connect to the network. So this is telling me I'm still in monitoring mode. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to cancel monitoring. I can have my Wi-Fi back. And we'll try to connect to Uncrackable Me. Just get back over here. CAFEBABE01. And it's trying to connect. And there we go. We connected to Uncrackable Me. We cracked Uncrackable Me. And that's our demonstration.
Thank you very much for watching our presentation. And of course, remember, don't use WEP.